Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Triple TC, that's the time travelling toy collector, and today in this video I'm sharing with you something I've just picked up online. I told you a couple of years ago, I think, I wouldn't be picking it up, but it was available for a ridiculously knockdown price, and it is Transformers the movie Studio Series 86 number 10, and it is the Decepticon Sweep. Now, as you will be aware, I'm sure, the Decepticon Sweep is an absolute just repaint, no retool, minor retool, so minor it bears no mention, because it's just the hands being swapped around. But a repaint, and it's really just the shade of blue, if I'm perfectly honest, of Scourge, of Decepticon Scourge. And I was adamant that I wasn't going to pay the prices that we were being asked for a repaint of Scourge, just so that I could have a complete set of Studio Series figures with the numbering. Now, I won't lie, it was frustrating that I made the choice not to pick it up, but I was making what I perceived at the time to be an adult choice, which is not, not something I do very often. I'm just giving you a bit of a tour of the box while I'm ranting, so you can see that it's one of the heralds of Unicron. The sweep there, and there's the backdrop that it comes with. Hope it focuses, which is really the transformation of the Decepticon Rex into the new forms. There it says their Unicron reformats fallen Decepticons into the sweeps to go and track down the Matrix. And you can see it's got the attachment there of the sort of shooty effect, and there you've got the big gun, which is just really Scourge's gun. Again, Studio Series 86 artwork for the sweep, artwork for the sweep, close-up artwork for the sweep, looks remarkably like Scourge. There's a reason. But there you go. Top of the box, Transformers the movie. Bottom of the box, don't eat the small stuff. So, why, as I say, wasn't going to pick this up. And then I saw it online for a ludicrously low price. And as such, I thought, you know what? And by ludicrously low price, I'll tell you, in case those you're asking in the comments, I'm talking less than £30 UK money. And I thought, well, actually, if I can pick this up for 20 odd quid, and it does plug a gap, that I'm prepared to pay for the completeness of it. But had it not been that, I would absolutely, it would still not be in my collection. But now it is, so I'll insert it in the right place in my Studio Series 86 playlist. I'm not going to go through all of the transformation because I've done that with Scourge, so you've seen what he looks like as a figure and as a space hovercraft thing. So I'm not going to do that because I'm not. You know what it looks like. If you want to see that, have a look at the Scourge video. It's in this playlist. But I just wanted to take the opportunity because I thought, well, I'm not just going to do a 2-minute short to say I've bought the figure. There you go. I wanted to sort of pick up on the fact that this notion of recoloring was something that I was a bit on my high horse about, and then I kind of did become a bit of a hypocrite because then I picked up Studio Series 86 Blaster, which was a recolor and a retool of well, no, it wasn't even a retool, really, was it? It was just a recolor of War for Cybertron Blaster. I think the biggest, but again, the deco was the Studio Series 86 deco, so that in itself was great. We also had a better cassette looking character with him, so that was all a win. But that was the first whiff for me of thinking, I think I'm going to end up seeing a few more of these. It's not going to be a one-off. This, whilst I disagreed with the with the price range and everything else, I understood it because the sweeps were characters, and they're going to do all the characters, and they were the same image as Scourge. So I didn't like the concept, but I got it. I just wasn't prepared to pay too much money for it. Blaster was perfectly serviceable. and here I am having picked him up, and I talk a bit more about that in my Studio Series 86 Blaster video. We now know on the way is Galvatron. Galvatron is, again, purely a recolor of the Kingdom, of the War for Cybertron, well, Kingdom Galvatron figure. Great figure, terrific mold. And in fact, I've got the Behold Galvatron translucent version of it as well. I think it's a beautiful figure. So I'm not mad about it, but I'm mad about, I suppose, that it's just a lazy recoloring, because they could have done a little bit more. And I've not got it yet. I know some people have. I don't know how they've got it already, but they have. I haven't yet. And I've seen some people say, yeah, it's a lot more screen accurate. But to me, who hasn't seen it yet in my own hand, it looks like there should be some red on the top of the shoulder pylons on there that would make it cartoon accurate. And I haven't seen that in some of the videos and in-hand product shots that I've gone out. So again, are we double dipping for something that's supposed to be toon accurate to discover it isn't toon accurate? So if it's a double / triple, and for some people possibly quad or quin triple dipping on that mold, that's going to be quite frustrating if at this point, when it's coming out as a Studio Series 86 toon accurate version and it isn't, that's going to be a frustration. So of course I've ordered it, because I want that version. But it's also because I'd done that and I'd also done the Blaster. That's when I saw this one come up at a super cheap price for what it is. I thought, well, actually, I'm going to get it, because my pre-existing position of, are you mad? You've already got it, kind of falls apart when I'm paying for those. And also down the road, we are reportedly having a re-release of Studio Series 86 Perceptor. I don't know what they're doing with him to make him different. I hope they're doing something, because I know they're adding in Blaster's cassettes, because as we're getting rid of the core class, or the core class has gone, that's the only way to get his cassettes now is through a reissue, and they do appear with Perceptor in that sequence within the movie, so I can kind of see the logic of including them. But if it's just Perceptor and we've bought 86 Perceptor already, are we then spending that money to get two cassettes, two core class? I need to know there's something different going on with Perceptor, or I need to know there's more to it than, well, if you excuse the pun, meets the eye, because I didn't want to say that. But because otherwise, oh my word, that's a bit of a low blow, Hasbro, and I think that would be disappointing, because you've got the collectors who are going to want to have, assuming they're a little bit better than Steeljaw turned out to be, but I still kind of found him a bit cute in the end. But I just thought this sort of presented itself as an ideal bit of a platform, just to have a bit of a personal moan or reflection. I suppose it's coming across as a moan, but it's not meant to. But it is a bit of a moan, and I get that they're a business and they have to make money, and a good way to make money is to resell stuff that you've already got, because of course that generates income without too much inward investment on new products. But there is a point where you won't get that. There's still an inward investment because you've got to do the new packaging, you've got to do whatever. But will people continue to purchase it? That's not a rhetorical question. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Personally, my sensible brain says, no, of course they're not going to do that. My collector brain says, hello, you're holding this in your hands. You've bought it. You've bought Galvatron pre-order. You've got the Blaster. There's going to be others down the road. What are they going to do when it's time for Rodimus Prime? Are they going to revisit the mold from War for Cybertron? It's a good mold. It has its issues. But it's a good mold. It's a good Rodimus Prime. Are they going to make some amendments to it? Or are we getting the exact same Rodimus Prime? Because it already scales with Galvatron from the War for Cybertron range, and that's what we're getting for Studio Series, and so on and so on. I've also seen people talking about the Constructicons being a cheap out. I'm looking forward to seeing that that's not the case. I don't think we've seen the best product or in-hand images, and I think it makes them look extra small and extra weedy. I'm hoping to goodness that my faith in Studio Series is maintained and well placed, and when we see the Constructicons, they are going to be what we need them to be. I never got the Combiner Wars stuff. That was all happening in the void between me being interested in collecting Transformers again. I have looked at it. I nearly picked it up on a couple of occasions, but I stepped away from it. Don't even know why, really, because it does look good when it's combined. The individual bots have got some issues, but you know what? They're always going to have issues because they're never going to ever be quite what our imagination dictates them to be. So I'm kind of okay with that, as long as they don't let us down with the actual figures, which I get are going to be sort of between Deluxe and Voyager class and a twin pack Commander class to cover the costs and the extra bits and pieces. But I'm here for that. I'm invested in that, so I don't have a problem with that. My problem, I suppose, is how far Hasbro can push the recolor / tiny remold, because it's literally swapping fists, remold of pre-existing figures, when really the whole point of the Studio Series range was that these were new molds designed to capture far more accurately the cinematic presence of the figures and the characters. That's the whole remit of Studio Series 86. So if they're now increasing, as I say, I fully understand why we went the way we went with this one. And it was a bit of a petty stance of mine not to pick it up the first time around. But Blaster, Galvatron, coming soon Perceptor. There's probably more that I can't think of off the top of my head. What are we going to see? I'm just kind of a bit worried that that's a direction of travel I would not want to see happen. I fear it could ultimately dilute the quality of the range, which ultimately has been, let's not forget, when these first started coming out, people were saying, this is the next best thing to a masterpiece. This is, all of these conversations were being had around Studio Series 86 figures. I don't want to see that lost in favour of some cost-cutting exercises. And you know what? I think the audience and the market is there for them to invest in remoulding. Even if it's an extensive retool or an extensive partial retool, just enough to lift it from what it was before into a Studio Series 86 figure. Am I asking too much? Maybe I am. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. I will quickly just take him out just to prove that I'm not just bought him to keep in the box. I probably will keep him in the box, but just because I don't just keep them in the box, I will take him out so you can have a quick look at him. I'm not going to do the transformation, as I've already said, but I'm conscious I've ranted whilst looking at a box. So let me crack him open so you can at least have a look at the figure. And here he is, out of the packaging, all sweeped up and on his display base. Now again, something else that I know moving forwards, or I believe moving forwards is the case, is no more backdrops for Studio Series figures. Again, I think that's a shame, because if you've already invested in over 30 figures in the range that have all got a backdrop, to then do a sort of gear shift and no longer offer that, it's a little bit tricky, I think. From a collector point of view, it's a bit like, what are you doing? Why would you do that to your collectors? So just so you can see it, it's really the transformation. You can see the Insecticons there being transformed into part of the sweeps or Cyclonus' armada. But here he is with his reversed hands. Absolutely not Scourge. It's absolutely definitely a sweep. Let's just zoom in on his face so you can get a real good look at that. And it is, it is a good face sculpt. It's a good figure. I mean, the majority of the Studio Series 86 figures are excellent. They just are. And they deserve all the comments you get about them being sort of mini masterpiece figures. You can see all of the sculpted in detail there. The surface level detail is brilliant. The articulation is really good. I'm not going to go through all of that because I say you can look at the Scourge video. But, it's a really well done figure. Let's have a look at the back. Yes, he's got a bit of a backpack, but it is, you know, the Scourge mold, and it needed to go somewhere. And it's all good. It's all good. I think it's a really lovely representation of the figure, and I think that, you know, I think it's I can't fault it for being what it is. You know what I mean? I'm just going to just position him slightly differently for the purposes of the final outro, if you like, of the video. But I do just think it's going to be very disappointing for long-term collectors who've really invested time, effort, and perhaps most importantly money in this range to start seeing recycled figures. And that's not to say that there can't be some reusage of pre-existing molds to where it makes sense and it makes business sense, because I get it, I do get it. But what I would love to see is it being done with some creativity and invention, so that if you are having to reuse some of it, that's great, but don't just make it a recolor. Do take the good bits of the figure, like Galvatron, for example, when it comes. Again, I've not seen it yet, I've not got it in hand yet. I know it's coming imminently, but I haven't got it yet. But when it arrives, I'm going to be looking at it and going, yeah, I know this figure because it's the War for Cybertron version. I'm not going to be surprised by any of it. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not expecting that. I'm sure it's going to look fantastic up against, you know, others in the line. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad to have it. I'm just a bit disappointed, to say the least, that there's not some retooling there just to make it that bit more cartoon accurate. And I'll probably have more to say on that when I've got it in my hand and I can actually say, yeah, this could have been more cartoon accurate. This wouldn't have killed them to do a new fresh piece. There's a couple of things that I've seen that I think, well, actually that's what I'm after. But I'll leave that for now. Thank you so much for listening to my rant. I appreciate you joining me for the last 20 or so minutes to talk about a figure that's about 3 or 4 years old, possibly. Right back from the dawn, almost, of the Transformers Studio Series 86 subline, in terms of the sweep here. Again, if you could like the video, that would be fantastic. And if you could drop a subscription to the channel, that really helps me get towards my next key milestone and means the absolute world. So I'll be very, very grateful if you could do that. Otherwise, it just remains for me to say thank you so much for sticking around. Have a look around. There might be other videos that catch your attention. In the meantime, I hope to see you in a future or indeed a past video. And just remains for me to say that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Bye-bye for now.